Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Max Afterburner podcast brought to you by No Fallen Heroes. My name is Theresa Noach, and I have the incredible honor of facilitating ceremony for Sacred Warrior Fellowship alongside my friends and partners, the great Wiz, Matt Buckley, his beautiful wife, Susie, and our amazing, compassionate, talented stewards, one of which I have the pleasure of sitting here with today. But quickly, before we get into that, if you would like to know a little bit more about my journey and what has brought me here, you can actually check out our other podcast that we already did called Healing in the Garden. You can find that link below. So thank you so much for watching today. And let's jump right into this conversation. Zoya, how are you today?
Good morning. I'm doing good. A
Breathe.
little nervous, but I'm doing good.
I'm so proud of you. I'm so proud of you. I mean, does it compare a little bit to the nerves that we feel getting ready for ceremony?
My first two, yes. Now it just seems I'm eager and I'm excited and I don't know. I'm anxious. Not anxious, but I'm excited to learn and to experience something new and meet new people and watch it unfold.
It's beautiful.
Yeah,
It's
it is
so
beautiful.
I still get nervous leading up to a ceremony because, the unpredictable nature of things. We're working with human beings that have come with a lot of reasons to heal. And it's just such an incredible experience and such a beautiful mission to be a part of.
It is. It's really humbling. Never in a million years did I think I would be here and be a part of that. I am so honored and blessed.
Yeah, it's 10 years ago. I would not have been able to imagine any of this. I know the tears are coming
I know.
already. I'm just so incredibly grateful. 10 years ago, I never would have imagined that my life would be the way it is now and that there would be so many incredible opportunities to continue to grow and to continue to learn and to continue to experience life on new levels, just new levels of freedom, new levels of hope, new levels of friendship. And that's what we have going for us right now with Sacred Warrior Fellowship. It is just a beautiful, growing family.
It is a big family and the camaraderie amongst everyone, and being a part of that afterwards is even tenfold.
Really?
Watching people's lives change, my own life, and to just where it all started,
Yeah.
with Susie and Matt.
Tell me more. You were there before I was. So tell me more. Where did it start? How did you get here?
I feel that it was fate, honestly, that brought me here and that put Susie in my life and in our circle of friends. And watching their journey and where they came from is beautiful. What they've done, not only for their family and their marriage, but now what they're doing for others and these veterans and civilians, like myself. I don't have enough words to put into this moment just because of my nerves or whatnot. But Susie, she likes to say she cherry-picked a group of women that had shown interest in what they were doing, wanted to heal, essentially. And I told her, I'll never forget, I said, if you guys ever do that, please let me know so I could heal. And after that, being asked to come back and be a steward or holding space, I was like, me? You want me to come and help and be a part of that? That put me in the direction that I know I've always wanted to. I do that now, but having the purpose or the meaning or of what I want to do for someone else that I've done for myself, but to pay it forward, I'm a big believer in that.
Yeah, like Matt says, drop the ladder, and help somebody else up. I was just listening to one of our other podcasts today, and that really stuck with me. But it's just such an incredible privilege. And so many people feel a sense of unworthiness when it comes to dropping that ladder. And one of the things that is so beautiful about this type of community and this type of healing journey that we do together is that number one of the principles and our values as an organization is that each person stands in their own authentic spiritual autonomy. And so there's no sense of competition, no sense of, this person's been doing it longer. This person knows more than me. I mean, when you get in ceremony and you take that sacrament, it is one of the most vulnerable experiences because you are letting go. And none of us know exactly how it's going to go. And the reason why I really specifically love to work in ceremony as a facilitator is because we also go on that journey with our members. And so we don't simply hold space and observe, but we enter into that energy with them. We take the sacraments together, which means that any one of us could end up experiencing another level of revelation, another level of healing. I mean, I don't know how many times during ceremony, any one of us at any given time, the facilitators, the stewards, all of us end up on our knees in front of the altar, just in gratitude, in brokenness, in awe.
You find a little piece of yourself each time, at least from my experience. And that was what catapulted me. I mean, you and Lisa and the women, I was so scared because of being vulnerable. What's going to happen and who's going to judge me?
Mm.
Not knowing any of, I knew a couple of the girls, but still being that open. Letting go is huge. And just trusting in that, because everyone there is there for the same reason, essentially, is to heal, to heal a broken part of themselves, to find something.
Searching.
And for the first time in my life, to be able to be that stripped of everything. And it's not pretty, and I didn't feel any shame, none whatsoever. And it was very freeing.
I remember walking in on that first ceremony that Susie brought you ladies to. It was kind of like the prototype, the test run. And the even crazy ironic part of it all is that I was not originally a part of that plan.
I will remember, because Susie was like, she shared some stuff trying to get this together, and Norm,
the retreat owner
of Coherence.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She was sharing with him that she was a little nervous. This was her first putting this ceremony together. Originally she was going to facilitate that, and enter Theresa and your beautiful partner, friend in that, Lisa. And the way that unfolded for each of us, the timing in that happening, I couldn't have imagined it any different.
I know.
I really can't. It was meant to be. The way everything just lined, the stars aligned, the universe aligned, normal, it all just happened.
And it's like that every single time. It's like every single person that is supposed to be in that ceremony is exactly who it needs to be there. And one of the things that I want our listeners to understand about ceremony is that each person brings such an important piece of the energy that is contributed to the container, including your pain, and once we go through a full journey from start to finish, it's always at the end when we're all looking back in retrospect and we're going, oh my God, we're seeing how these pieces of the puzzle are just fitting together. And while I know that there's a lot of advancements being made in a clinical setting with hallucinogenic therapy, there is just something to being in this ship with other people and going through the experience over the course of, the retreat goes on for 2.5 days, right? So you're really getting to know people, and you're really getting to hear what other people are going through and experiencing. You get to bond a little bit with others, which also helps with the healing. But ceremony itself, we start our preliminary prayers and dedications and sharing our intentions. And, we have a few different sacraments that we experience during ceremony. that I particularly like to work with. So altogether, we're looking at a 7-8 hour journey of spontaneity and yet a bit of, ritual as far as routine is concerned. But this connection that we have being outside together, all of the elements there supporting us. We are the elements and we are in and among the elements. And we really do believe that the creator, that, the divine being spirit is orchestrating all of this and using all of it to create this beautiful picture that just lasts and gives each one of us the momentum that we had hoped to find for the unfolding of our new sense of wholeness and freedom.
I couldn't, if you asked me a few years ago about just even the bad things that happen in life and the people that come across your life and across your path, for instance, Susie, never in a million years, you know, you coming in our lives, Lisa coming in our lives, Matt, these women, Catherine, I would be like, okay, now in hindsight for my own journey, where I've been and the people that have come in, books I've read, podcasts I've listened to, things that have always pulled me, but just maybe too afraid of what society thinks, and this is bad, this is evil. Some may think this is not God, this is not love, and it is anything but that.
Yeah.
It is all of love,
Yeah.
pain and hurt and suffering, and it's truth. It is truth, and it's not a one and done.
Yeah.
It takes work like anything in life, but it opens you up so much to really see yourself inside and to let go of things that you just carry. They're like shackles and weights, and I can't imagine that being in a clinical setting, being out, like you said, with the elements, being out there. You can't do that in four walls and lighting and all of that. It doesn't feel right just talking about it.
Well, and with Sacred Warrior Fellowship, even though our church was founded on Matt and Susie's passion to end veteran suicide through this beautiful modality that we have, it quickly grew into a fellowship for everyone. And that is such a vital part of the ongoing healing process, staying connected, putting yourself in a situation where you're accountable because you're getting to know each other. And that accountability seems nerve-wracking and scary to people because sometimes, like you said earlier, people feel that means judgment and condemnation. And, for a lot of people, that experience may have been that way for them. Me growing up, in church, I often equated accountability to control and condemnation and judgment. And speaking of church, I also know that you also have some background
Oh,
when it
yeah.
comes to just dogmatic, um, dogmatic religious programming. And how has going through this experience in some ways rubbed up against that and shown you where some of those belief systems were kind of running in your life and in your programming?
I was raised Seventh-day Adventist. My dad was Catholic. My mom raised a Seventh-day Adventist, and I always questioned. She always taught us God was in our heart, but we went to church, and I mean, it was very strict.
Mhm.
Seventh-day Adventist is very strict. And as I got older, I just questioned why. If this person is this, or if I'm not going to church on Sunday like all of my friends, whether they were Jewish or Catholic, I'm Seventh-day Adventist at sundown. You can't do anything until the Sabbath day, which is a Saturday. You can't wear anything above your knee. You can't wear jewelry. God forbid pierce your ears or let alone have tattoos. Like you are going to your sin. So coming out of that programming my entire life to getting a tattoo, putting a Band-Aid on it, hiding from my mom, I love you, piercing my ears and things like that, and questioning that religion. As much as I love my one pastor, Pastor Aldrich, if you were listening, beautiful support, but God, God can't be so divided. And all of these religions, if you think about it, Buddhism, Hinduism, Judaism, Christianity, and I feel there's a lot of people that are still in that box, are so conformed, and I was one of them, just breaking out of it. Your book, Unraveled, is beautiful. I haven't finished it, but there is something to be said about that.
Yeah.
And it's God is love. And I've had a hard time, and Matt's talked about it on his podcast, just religion in general. I feel like it's so black and white and so divided, but aren't we all practicing love and kindness and faith? Is it so scripted that you have to follow these things, or you're not worthy, or your sexuality, if you're gay, if you're not, if you've done drugs, people come from all walks of life. And I've realized that I am just as valid as anyone else.
Amen to that.
Yeah.
Yes.
I am just as worthy with all of my sins, with all of all of me, good and bad. And that is God.
Yes. And that
it's in us.
Yes. And that is our core belief with Sacred Warrior Fellowship, is that if it's love, if it is to the benefit of all beings and the earth, that is God. That is God. And there is no way that this loving creator, this loving God, loving source has set up some type of system of failure that when we screw up, because that is actually how we learn, and that is how our brain develops new neural pathways, is by trying and fucking up, and learning from our mistakes. And one of the things about ceremony is that sometimes, like you said even earlier, it can be messy. But we are learning even in the middle of those messes. And so what kind of loving creator is going to condemn us to an eternal torment, which many religions teach, when really the process of learning and growing and expanding consciousness as human beings is the process of trial and error. And we all know that none of us succeed in life without a lot of failures, and you cannot succeed if you do not try. And so jumping off that ledge, having that leap of faith, coming to a retreat, coming to a ceremony, it's going to take some faith. And we don't mean the kind of faith where you subscribe to a specific creed or doctrine, but the type of faith that this could work for me. And we had one of our veterans that I can't wait to get on the podcast and talk to, which I'm not going to name right now, but was it our last ceremony? Our poet and our painter?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So our last ceremony, I walked in the door and this guy was just, you could see the years of pain and hard and closed down. You could see the suffering, even though he was seemingly very shut off. And by the time we got to the part of our evening, the preliminary, the night before, where we're bringing our intention into one word, which is sometimes really difficult for people because we want to be able to tell God or the universe how this process is going to unfold. That's us trying to always be in the driver's seat. So when I say a leap of faith, that's what I mean. It's being willing to let go of that control, because up to this point, it ain't done what you hoped it would do. And so here we have, this brother of ours that, and I've never heard anybody say this as their intention. And I think it scared some of the people in the room, but I was like, yeah, that's right on. We said, what's your intention? He said, to die. Ding, 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 ding. Like, you got that one right, buddy. You have to be ready and willing to die to the old self. And that's something that's taught in also a lot of religions and Christianity. And I think that to put this spin on that, we can talk about the ego death, but the willingness to die to that old man. And he said to us that nothing has worked. He was in his later 50s and said that after multiple attempts to unalive himself, and multiple attempts to try to live through forms of different clinical treatments and he says, if this doesn't work, nothing will. Talk about pressure. But I had the faith. I know you had the faith. We knew. Okay, buddy, let's do this, right? And did he not look like a completely different person?
Oh my goodness. I remember Susie saying at one of the ibogaine retreats that they had done with the veterans when her and Matt did this, they would take pictures of their eyes
Mm-hmm.
before and after. It finally clicked for me because including myself, I can't imagine what I look like and what I was afterwards. And you're still trying to process everything.
Yeah.
And you process it for weeks and months afterwards, but the airiness that everyone has that comes through their eyes of kind of, this is my last straw, or the brokenness of them just going on their knees and just saying, I'm here. And to see the airiness afterwards, you I'm speechless. You have to experience it to really know what I'm talking about. But their eyes, his eyes lit, the hugs, you could feel the energy. You could feel the energy amongst all of including us, all of us that were there. And, you go back into society, life, and it takes work and support and everyone just being there for one another. But he's come a long way. They're all beautiful souls. Each and every one of these people that I've had the honor to be a part of their life and their journey has been, I still can't believe that I'm worthy to be able to do that.
And that brings us back to what I was saying a few minutes ago is that so many times people count themselves out, get to a certain point, a certain age in life, and feel like I'm supposed to be here. I'm supposed to have done this or achieved that. And so I think a lot of us struggle with the idea of being worthy to have a life of freedom and healing and wholeness. And when I say freedom, I'm talking about freedom from self condemnation, freedom from, anxiety. I mean, I don't know how many times so far people have walked away from ceremony and they are free from the anxiety that has been a cloak on their back. And yeah, we've talked before about the pink cloud and how after a ceremony things can feel really great for a period of time. And sometimes people end up finding that the dust settles and they start to struggle with things. But we've been talking to quite a few of our people from the retreat. We keep an ongoing dialogue with everybody. It is a growing family. We keep an open dialogue with everybody. Before you come to ceremony, you get integration coaching to help you lead up to preparation. And then you get integration coaching afterwards to help you process what came up for you. And you don't always walk away with this aha clarity on your whole entire life. And so that also is where this faith walk has to come in, and this commitment to yourself, and the freedom is really a sense of being liberated from something that was heavy, something that was obstructing our ability to have hope. And we walk away from ceremonies so many times with a newfound hope and a sense of, I may not know where I'm going, but I know I'm going to be okay.
And I know I'm going in the right direction. Because before you're lost, speaking for myself, I know where I needed to be and what I wanted and what kept pulling me. Really, when I think about it, my entire life, certain things that just draw me. But after that first time with the girls, with the women, I let go of a lot of stuff, but still had so much work and still have so much work to do for myself to evolve and to change and to learn and to, because I want it. I want to learn. I want to know.
I was going to say, doesn't the work become a part of the adventure?
Mhm.
Right. And I think that's important to remember too, is that when we say the work, it's not this tasking heavy work. That is our perfectionist state of mind, our performance orientated personalities that many of us struggle with because we grew up, wanting the approval of the people in our society, wanting the approval of the kids at school, wanting the approval of mom and dad and siblings. And that's a very normal part of our human nature. We have to have that.
I did have that for, my sister who I love so much, or people close to me. And then after the second time, I was like, either you're with me or you're not, but I'm ultimately on this by myself. We're all in it. We have the support from the group, but you're still doing the work by yourself because you're the only one that can do that, you know?
1000%.
So, and I used to think, what's someone going to think or what, is it too woo woo? Is it whatever people, but it's, that's fine. You're just not there yet, or you're not open to it yet. And
Yeah.
being here today, being able to be a voice, to be asked to come to this for anyone that wants to listen. I always share podcasts. I love podcasts and books. And when someone's ready, they'll come.
Yeah.
They'll come. You can lead
Yes.
a horse to water, but you can't make it drink, right?
Right.
So I can only tell my story, just as you. Your story is beautiful. And all of these men and women that have been there, they all have a story. And it's a ripple effect. Dario, which Matt did the pod, it's
Yeah.
a ripple effect, literally, because of his own experience and his own healing. And he had been healing and working on this journey of healing for a long time.
Right. He's a therapist.
A long time.
He's a therapist.
Mhm.
And he's another one. After we finished ceremony, he comes up and said, I haven't been alive in 18 years.
Yeah.
I'm
You can't make this stuff up. You
you
can't.
just can't.
You can't.
I'm alive.
And it's funny, ironic, or I'm just more aware of it now. You're seeing all of these Joe Rogan, all these people talking about psychedelics and the therapy and really what comes from within that.
Yeah.
And it is not evil. It's not demonic. It's not. So I think people that feel that, they just don't know. They just don't know. They lived in a closed box.
Yeah.
And sometimes you have to, you're not supposed to judge. In
Yeah.
any religion, you're not supposed to pass judgment. And I feel church has been that,
Yeah.
from it's not church, or my experiences in the past. I haven't been in a church in a very long time, unless I go visit my sister, but it's not about what you're wearing, what your kids are doing. It's not this, it shouldn't be that. It should be there for everyone going to learn the teachings of the pastor of the word of that day and to go out and make a difference in the world.
That's one of the reasons why I also like Buddhist philosophy is with the concept of detachment, and there's a big focus on letting go of those judgments and being present, with the inner self. And that is something that is encapsulated in ceremonial experiences as well, is just this beautiful ability to surrender. The sacrament is going to call you into a deep surrender. And the sooner you surrender, the the more beautiful your journey becomes. And that's life, because the more we fight and resist and swim upstream, the more we continue to suffer. But the more we let go and we allow, and I love how Abraham Hicks talks about the art of allowing. And I think even being an intentional creator, that serves a purpose at certain points in our lives. I think it's beautiful to come to a place in your spiritual journey where you wake up in the morning and you say, this is what I want to create in my day today. But I think it's even more beautiful to get to a point, and maybe not more beautiful, but also but just as beautiful in a different way, to get to a point in your journey where you don't have to figure out what you're going to create today, because you trust that the universe is loving and kind, that source is loving and kind, and that on the inside of me, I am loving and kind, and that good things are coming my way. But we don't start at that point. So we have to go through the process of being able to develop the type of mindset that lives in a state of surrender. And it's okay to not always be in that place. Sometimes I have to cycle back and revisit, a time of intentional creating, a time of goal setting, a time of revamping my routines that are supporting of my goals. But then you build momentum. And once you get that momentum, you start to let go and you realize that I could not have created or planned this any more beautifully. The universe has brought to me exactly everything that I needed in this time and in this season for my next level of growth. And the more you see that, the more you experience that, the more you can trust that. And I think with every ceremony that we have the opportunity to serve, we see that firsthand. We see that, and we're just affirmed over and over again about how safe it is to really let go, how beneficial it is to our overall state of wellness in life, to walk in a mindset of surrender. And the ceremony does teach us that.
It does. It has for me. I mean, you and Lisa, I'll never forget it. Even in the journey, there was many times where you both were around me and you need to let go. You have to let go. Are you ready to let go? And I may have some, but now in the months afterwards and being in these ceremonies, each time I let go. And I remember coming to you, where am I in my life? I'm 52 now, and I feel like I'm halfway through my life. What have I accomplished? What's my purpose? I'll never forget, not word for word what you said, but you had painted it so that purpose isn't something, a goal that you reach or something that you've accomplished, or if I have this, then I have that, or if that. And it didn't click until you said that. And now it clicks every time. And I've consciously made time in my busy schedule for myself to start a practice, to have not what it's supposed to be, because it's not supposed to be anything.
Right.
Lisa even says you're not even supposed to do this. You create your own because it's what feels right, and not like, I know what I want to contribute in this world, and I know I'm on the right path, and I know that you women were put in my life for a reason. And I get teary-eyed because I genuinely love you.
Cool.
You've changed my life in so many ways, and I can't even wait to see what happens for me on this journey. Purpose isn't accomplishing, or it is in you. It's not a one thing.
Preach
And I
it, girl.
finally okay, if something crappy happens, it's supposed to happen. And I'm not walking dancing through the forest, singing all day long. I'm a human. I get mad, I get angry. I have stuff that happens, but now the way I react to something is different. That is 1000. I choose my words. Still have a long way to go, but I stop and pause. And I've not done that ever before. I pause and I ask, okay, what are you, like, it's a test. People in my life, circumstances in my life, like, okay, what is that mirror? What am I supposed to see? I ask the question instead of, you know,
Reacting.
complaining.
Yeah.
Yep.
Assuming.
Yep. Yep. Well, part of the 4 agreements that my sister gave me the book a few years ago, and everything just kind of, I wasn't ready for it. I read it, but every piece that I've read, whether it's Gabby Bernstein, whether it's Don Miguel Ruiz, whether it's the Bhagavad
Yes.
Gita, I can't
Yes.
even say it. Just so many things are starting to click, 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 click. And I don't believe that I would have been there if I hadn't been a part of that ceremony at all. I think I would have gotten there eventually.
Of
I've
course.
always wanted to do ayahuasca or do something just to free. I've done the Temazcal. I've done meditations with my sister, and she's been a big vessel for me. But this is the work, and this is where I belong. And I was supposed to be there, and Susie was supposed to be in my life, and you were supposed to be there. It couldn't have unfolded any better than that. And for you to have changed so many lives with these men and their families. I mean,
We're
wow.
one team, baby. We are one team.
Wow.
I love you and I appreciate
Love
you.
you.
And I'm so thankful for just, again, the team that we're building and the trust and the faith that we have in each other. And when you're in ceremony and we're all in the journey together, having each other's backs, and it's just so beautiful. We are all a part of the tapestry of the universe, and the collective consciousness is made up of all of our individual ways. And a part of ceremony, and why it's so, I think, special and important to this healing journey of humanity, as Matt says, this is the way. And we're convinced of that, is because what you don't get in a clinical setting is the perspective of the importance of your unique piece. And you see how you matter. You see how your pain and your mistakes and all those times in your life when you thought you were on the wrong track, when you thought you blew it, you come to ceremony and you start to learn really quick that my journey mattered. All of it, even the combat. We're seeing these guys come out now, and after having revisited the one thing they were afraid to revisit, which was combat, and for some of them, that's where their journey takes them, but it's where they needed to go. With Dario, that's where his anxiety was. It was like, I know what's in there. I know what could potentially come up, and that's exactly what I've been maybe avoiding my entire life to some degree. But that is where ceremony lovingly guides you, knowing that you are supported, you're not alone, and that you're going to be okay. But when we have to revisit those parts of our lives that have been like the thorn in our side, and we get to see them from a different angle, and that angle is that somehow this really all fits together in the big, beautiful picture of humanity and this big earth family. And I was listening to a podcast, and I know we're going to wrap it up soon. So I wanted to touch on this a little bit because it was just so perfect that I was driving here today and I happened to find this podcast about the noosphere. The earth has been expanding and evolving for 14.8 billion years. Right? Human beings, we are a product of a 14.8 billion year evolution. And right now, for the first time in scientific research, we have the topic of the noosphere. So like I was saying, you have the geosphere, which is the earth itself. You have the biosphere, which is life on earth. And now you have the study of the noosphere, which is the way earth thinks through us. You cannot tell me that a psychedelic ceremony is not hands down the closest thing that you're going to get to realizing that you are a part of the consciousness of the earth, and that the earth is an expression of the divine and we are extensions of that expression, and that somehow all of these pieces of this fabric are coming together and being woven together in infinite, beautiful, ongoing picture that we're painting together.
I think it's always been there.
Yeah.
Primitively, it's been there. We have so much to learn from that. And if you think of the pyramids and the energies and the solstice, if you think of all of that, it's been there. I think now, at least for me, there's a many people waking up.
Right. Right.
And
And that's what's happening. That's why it's called the consciousness of the earth, because there's more of an understanding that we are a process that's happening in the universe, that the universe is thinking and the universe is learning itself through us. We're starting to understand that. We're starting to be aware of that.
aware,
Yeah.
I think so, aware.
Doesn't somebody say to be aware is to be alive? I heard that somewhere. Somebody quoted that somewhere
I'm
along the
sure.
way. So we do have a ceremony schedule on our website, sacred warriorsfellowship.com, nofallenheroes.com. You can visit either of those websites. Our next ceremony, we've got
It's
one actually coming up. Yeah, but this podcast
weekend.
may or may not drop before then, so it'll be closed. But the next one that you can inquire about is going to be January 16th. So please get in touch with us. It is January 16th to the 18th. And if you are feeling called to be a part of this growing movement, if you are feeling called to finally embrace your healing, to take a leap of faith, and to be a part of a community that not only stands for the healing of our warriors, our veterans that have given up their lives to give us the lives that we have, the comfort and the peace of mind to lay our heads down at night. That's what these guys have done for us. And we all get to be a part of this movement that is growing to end the chronic state of suffering that our veterans have been experiencing. But we're all in this together. Our retreats are right here. We're actually recording in Palm Beach Gardens, but just an hour north of here, we have a beautiful retreat center. And so if you're here in Florida, it's an easy commute, but otherwise we can get you that ticket and get you in. We do provide, if you need help financially, we provide that for our veterans and their families. And so please inquire within.
No fallen heroes, they can apply for a grant.
Exactly. That's what we're all about. But we want you to, if you've already been a part of ceremony, pay it forward. Nobody's left out. Nobody's left behind. No man or woman left behind. And it's just such an incredible honor. This time goes so fast.
Oh my gosh.
So we have to do it again.
So yeah.
So thank you to Matt and Susie for trusting us to come in here and record the Max Afterburner podcast today. What an honor and a privilege it is to work with them and to be a part of this. So thank you guys. We appreciate you. We love you so much. And we love the rest of our family. And we look forward to seeing you guys again in ceremony. And thank you so much for being with us today. If you liked what you heard and what you saw, please give us a 5-star review, like, and subscribe wherever you are listening from. We look forward to hearing from you. Thank you so much.